Hello Tubesters, it's Gav. Welcome to another one of my videos. Today it's the final reveal of the Heavy Armour Heavy Group builds. I'm doing an M48A2. 1 minute. It is. It's been a while. Hang on. Oh, sorry about the creaky chair. Oh, I said I'd do a deck chair on that. That's as far as it ever got. It was absolutely terrible. I wasn't going to paint it. So it was a Monogram. Now, to begin with, I was calling it 1 in 35 because they call it a 1 in 35, and it's not. It's 1 in 32. Why, as a professional company, would you put that on a box when you know damn well it isn't 1 in 35? Now, to those of you that aren't into scales, that might not seem much. However, it is when it comes to, say, putting stowage on, because roll me myself back to the camera. There we go again. Yeah, it does matter when it comes to the scale of the. I've got 1 in 35 Tamiya figures in there, and they are smaller really than the tank. The same with the stowage. You know, you can notice on the jerry cans particularly. Not that I've put them on there, but I was going to, and they just look a bit ridiculous. They look like those mini ones that you can put in your car, you know. So yeah, I thought that is a bit disingenuous, because you know you don't want to put 1 in 32 because you know people will go, oh, that sounds like an old kit, and it is. Wanted to thank Victor for sending me this ages ago, along with the Sherman. I built the Sherman a while ago. Finally got round to building this one. So thank you very much, Victor. I haven't gone to town on it. I'm sorry there's no base in the end. It was a lack of enthusiasm, but it wasn't. I actually have done 2 bases, well, at different stages, and they just both look rubbish. I just could not get the mod effects, and I was almost going to pull the trigger on a bottle of MIG ammo, Vietnam mud and Vietnam pigments, and I just thought, nah, I'm not being funny to the guys running the group build. I didn't want to throw the money at it. To be fair, everything on here I've done with things that, well, not there is anything on here really apart from putting the sandbags on. I converted the figures helmets. There's nothing. Even the figures have just got. They are a base because they're out of scale to the tank really. And I wasn't going to spend hours and hours doing it, but I've completed a model. That's not very often Gav can say that he's actually completed a model. But I wanted to either cover up more of the tracks. There's big gaps. If you really look, there's some photographs at the end. I've not shied away from it, but I've not put, you know, close-up photographs in or anything. But as far as I'm concerned, it looks like a Vietnam M148 from, well, it could be Army, or this is Army, but it could be Marine Corps if it didn't have Army cav all over it and stuff. I added a 30 cal on the top, just because a lot of them were upgunned. Some have got the 50 cal out of the Commander's Capilla. They have the M48 in its early stages had an integral 50 cal, but in Vietnam they seem to have either, if they had no access to other machine guns, they take the 50 cal out and mount it on a pintle, so you just have the hole where the 50 was. But a lot of the guys got buckshee, as we'd say in the British Army, so stolen or just found. There's so many vehicles going around in the 90s and stuff that my regiment had been near. Driving off from another regiment with bits missing off it. We won't go down that road. Not for personal gain, just to increase the stores of the regiment. It's got, you know, it's got a buckshee 30 cal on, and that was about it really. If I'd have had an M60, say, I would have just had it on a bipod just for the loader on top. You know, they literally went with a lot of firepower, obviously. So that's it really. Monogram 1 in 32 Monogram, scale M48 Patton A2, Vietnam. When in Vietnam, we'll say you know, something around 66, 67, say. No particular part. Well, it's got more of the orangey dirt. As I say, it's even the MiG stuff, everything's orange. Well, obviously different parts of Vietnam weren't always orange, but it just seems it's a thing that you often see, and it's often repeated on dioramas and stuff. It would have been repeated on my diorama as well. As I say, it wasn't a case of not knowing how to make my own mud and putting colours and stuff into it wasn't anything like that. I just couldn't get it working in here to work how I wanted it to, if that makes sense. I'd got a load of it goes in florist displays. I don't know what you call it. It's you know, it's plasticky. It's not plastic. It probably is, but it's, I don't know. They're like long, like grass, but long, and I was going to cut all those down and make reeds and stuff, and it just, I think what also sapped it out of me in the end was just the scale difference between stuff. It's always hard to try and marry it up between 1 in 35 and 1 in 32. I'd say it doesn't sound a lot, but in my head it was getting that way. So thanks to Joachim and Marcus for putting on the group build. I've got only a few photographs at the end. But at least, and the stowage has just been plonked on where I could put it really. I tarped off over the bustle at the back, which we'll see in a minute. Not very well, but it's again, there was nothing. My jerry cans were looking minute. Well, not minute, but they were out of scale. You know, they just didn't look right. So in the end, I just covered the bustle up at the back and just said, you know, to hell with it. That it is what it is, as my Mara Charlie Mac would say. Right, let's go down and take a look. Right guys, here's our M48. I used oils to replicate some of the grime and dust that's embedded on the vehicle. As I say, pigments on top would have been what I was looking for, and I put all this down here as a base coat, ready to put pigments on top, and of course I never got the pigments in the end, which is a bit of a shame. As I say, the figures were World War II figures. I put some what they call it, epoxy on around the World War II helmets and smoothed it out with one of those clay shapers as best I could, and then just add a very basic shape of the microphone piece on the side. He just fits in there. I'm not going to turn her all round. There's photographs at the end. I've gone with a giant antenna that was in part of the kit, just because again to make something smaller that I'd got in different wire, it would have actually been way too small. But there we go, really. As I say, there'll be photographs on at the end. The kit was of his age, if that makes sense. There was huge gaps that underneath, particularly, that would have taken even more. I have done a lot of filling on it, but it could have done with a lot more. Obviously, everything's pre-molded, so you know these like strengthening pieces aren't what's on the tank itself. They look differently on the real tank. But it went together okay. There isn't a lot to go wrong with it. It's an old kit, so there isn't, you know, all the stowage boxes already pre-cast on there, and the track pieces are pre-cast on there. There isn't a lot. I think this heater pipe, which Dutch Dave told me was as part of the heater pipe for the tank, internal tank for the crew. Obviously not needed in Vietnam. I believe I didn't think they'd have that mounted, but I believe I have seen them with it mounted. So I've seen enough photographs at the doing this tank up. I did, again, I've had to use putty to do the glacier plate. It's got obviously a dust cover that goes all the way around it. So I've had to potty that because that wasn't shown on the tank. And that's about it really. As I say, there's huge gaps like where the 50 calis and stuff. But I actually made a model, and I can't believe that. That's been a long time, I can say, since I've actually got a finished build. Yes, it hasn't got a base in the end, but I'll live with that. As I say, I quite enjoyed it. I think it was dragging me down a bit towards the end, only because I was just really noticing the scale difference. I'd never done a 1 in 32 before, not that I remember anyway, and just adding the bits and pieces on, it was just throwing me a bit. But you know, as I say, it got me building something all the way through. And I actually put the tracks on this one, which I know they're only rubber tracks and I've not really done a lot to them. They could have really done with more metal showing on the outside of the track pins and that. But originally I was going to coat the whole thing in mud, as I say. That's just gone askew. But the tracks actually went on brilliant. I'm thinking, why doesn't it do it on anything else I build? But yeah, the tracks went on great, which was a good pickup. As I say, I've not even been able to put rubber tracks on without them looking ridiculous. So yeah, I was quite happy with that. And that's about it really. Not a lot of decals that needed to go on. I've just put the flat. They did come with a lot more. You can do an Israeli version of this as well. And they also have a lot more graffiti type. This just says flower power on the barrel. You could get more, but obviously with all the sandbags and everything, it didn't seem worth it. So thank you very much for stopping by and taking a look. Once again, thank you to Marcus and Joachim and Marcus. We don't put one in front of the other. For putting on again this year the group build. Thanks for the enjoyable videos I've seen that's been part of this. It's been fun to, as I say, I wasn't going to do it this year just because I just don't seem to be able to complete models these days with my head problems. So I was going to actually give, even though I did figures last time, and Joachim said, you want to do figures? Well, to everybody, you want to do figures as long as it's, you know, roughly within the remit of the group build, then fill your boots. But that wasn't exact words, obviously. But yeah, I'm glad I did do it. I'm sorry it's taken so long. I have sat on it. It was just that it's a classic Gav again. Things like making those bases, it's just sapping it out of me again, and then I switch off. So I could have had this done about 2 or 3 weeks ago, to be honest with you. Never mind. Coming up, model building wise, I'm still now a model I'm really enjoying is the USS Lexington I'm building at the moment. I've got more bridge pieces done on her. I want to do a PTSD build, as I say, or even a mental health, you know, rather than just grounding it in PTSD, but a mental health build. It's not, you know, I'm not asking it to be a group build or anything like that. It was just a case of, I just wanted to show how hard it is for people with, as much as it aids us, it is also sometimes a real challenge with those of us that are fairly well affected with head problems to actually do the thing we enjoy. So I wanted to do that build, and that is coming up. I'm just debating whether I mean, I've got this one done. I've still got to get back to the hot. Again, the hot rod. It was just the weather, and of course, then my head goes off on a different tangent. It's going to be ages before I get back to the hot rod. But I was debating whether to do that or actually see if I can push myself to finish the Badger. The problem is with me, I mean, we all do it, you know, we try and push ourselves on when we don't like a project, or not like a project, but you know, you run out of steam for a while on something. But I don't see the point in doing something when you're not in the mood to do that particular thing, especially with, well, all of us out there, you know, if you're doing it, it's your time's precious. I mean, me, I sit at the bench all the time. Yeah, I'm obviously commission painting as well, but I'm at the bench most of the time. So you know, there's a lot more people out there that are trying to juggle work and home life and their little bit of hobby time. But I am a firm believer in do what makes you happy. You know, if it's winding you up on a project or you're just not enjoying it, I don't give a damn if somebody goes there and starts another one. You know, it's what makes you happy. It's your precious time. Enjoy it. You know, so Gav's lesson for the day. So thank you very much. Yeah, so I'll either keep the PTSD build off soon, or I'll complete the Badger. Who knows? As I say, I'm still model building anyway. I'm still got the Lexington, and at some stage I'll get back on Kent as well, HMS Kent. So you know, I am actually building models. It's just, as I say, for the armour and stuff, and the 1 in 35s and the hot rod and stuff. It's all just floating around, literally at the moment. So thank you very much for stopping by and taking a look. I'm going all over the place, aren't I? So let's leave it at that. And hope to see you again next time the guys do their group build, and we'll see what they've got this time, and or next time, and you know, hopefully I might step in on that one as well. So thanks guys for the support and the kind words. It's always appreciated. You know, as I say, it's good to have connections with people, and you know, I'm very grateful for all you do, comment wise and likes and things like that. I should have maybe thought, I pulled this out of the stash. Yes, it's a figure. That's a Corvus Belli Infinity the Game figure. Heavy Armour, Big Guns and Heavy Armour. I should have done that one. So look after yourselves. We'll catch each other soon on another video.